Hello, everybody. Happy Monday. What a great way to start the week. We've got session spotlights today with Katherine Buenger, Karen Donde, Becky Flax, Annette Kraayeveld, Susan Lazear, and Barbara Setsu Pickett. They're all going to be teaching at Convergence this summer, July the 11th through the 17th. We're going to be in Wichita, Kansas. We're going to have a variety of classes, a fashion show, exhibits, and tours. And today you can find out about some of these classes that are going to be offered. Don't forget, we also have the keynote. We've got much, much more, and we're so excited to be offering all of this summer. We're going to start off today with Katherine. Hi, Katherine.
Hi there.
How are you?
I'm good.
She's going to have a 10 thread and stone class. You want to tell us about that?
Yeah, the 10 thread is thread that I get from Sweden, and it was used by the Sami people for hundreds of years. The Sami are the people from the northern Nordic countries, and they're known for reindeer herding and farming. They would use this tin thread. It's a fine wire wrapped around a fiber core, and they'd use this tin thread to decorate their belongings and costumes. And then years later, it became a tourist destination. They started making these lovely bracelets. Here's some examples of using the tin thread, braiding it, and putting it on reindeer leather. Well, I just love working with this tin thread, so I keep coming up with other ways to use it. And one of them is my favorite. It's these stone donuts that I found at the Bead and Button Show, and I do a 5-strand braid. Students will have a choice of 3 different variations, and it's a beginning class. Everyone will finish it in class. It's one of my favorite things to teach. So I hope you're interested in signing up for it. I'll bring all the supplies. That's included in your materials fee. Yeah, I'm excited. And there's still room in my design your own cuff class too, the day before. So if you're interested in that, that'd be great.
Well, one thing we're always curious about, and I know I feel this way too, it's like, do I have the skills required and the knowledge required to do this class?
You do. It's definitely a beginner class. I've taught this class many times. I show you how to make the braid. I show you the different variations, and I give you parachute cord to practice on. And once I see that you get it, then I say, move on to the tin thread, and away you go. It's fun.
So it sounds like you're going to provide most of the materials. What would a student have to bring?
You don't need to bring a thing. Just your creativity and willingness to learn.
Oh, that's great. This again is a class on, here we go, 3-hour seminar on Sunday. 3 hours. I can make something that gorgeous in 3 hours. That's amazing.
You really can. It surprises me too, but yes, you can.
I love this photo up close. Just the detail in the threads. It's just beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, this is Sunday. What a great way to spend a Sunday afternoon, July 14th. Again, you can get more information online. And like she said, she's teaching 2 classes. If you want more of the jewelry, you can go with that one. Thank you so much, Katherine. We appreciate it.
Thanks.
Next up, we have Karen Donde. Karen's going to do drafting original color and weave motifs. This is a 3-hour seminar. This is also Sunday afternoon. Hey, Karen.
Hi there.
How are you?
I'm good. Are you seeing me?
I am seeing you, and I'm seeing your paper.
Okay. I am going to share my screen for a few slides.
Oh, you were sharing your screen.
Oh, I was?
Yeah, there you go.
There I am.
Oh, I lied. Now you're sharing your screen.
Thought so. All right. So as Kathy said, this seminar is also Sunday afternoon, Katherine. So this is a 3-hour seminar about drafting color and weave motifs. It came about because I really love puzzles. I'm not so much into Wordle, Sudoku, or even crosswords anymore, but figuring out weaving patterns and drafts to create the cloth I want provides hours of entertainment. Give me graph paper, a ruler, a few colored pencils, and an idea I'd like to weave, and I'm content. Drafting original color and weave motifs explains a technique for solving a particular weaving design puzzle. Color and weave effects like log cabin or houndstooth or pinwheel are designs that result from the interaction of a given weave structure with a repeating contrasting color order in warp and weft. Now, that's kind of a technical explanation. Basically, the motifs are a function of whether a dark or light warp or a dark or light weft sits on top of the cloth on any given pick across the cloth. As the darks and the lights build up, according to whatever weave structure you're using, shapes form that are distinct from either the color order or the weave structure by themselves. One of the best ways to experiment with color and weave effects is by putting on a warp with a variety of threadings across the width, or a variety of contrasting dark light color orders, or both. Weave it as drawn in, matching the warp color orders, and see what happens. GAMPs like this are great tools for identifying cool patterns to weave. However, you can come at this from the other direction. You found a repeating motif you'd like to weave, but you don't have a 40-shaft dobby or a jacquard or a draw loom. Can you possibly use color and weave effects to create the motif or a simplified version of it on 4 or 8 shafts? That's what this seminar is all about. It's primarily a paper and pencil exercise that involves a little if this, then that sort of puzzle solving. And once you've worked the puzzle, create a full drawdown so you can test it, and then add more repeats to see what it's going to look like across a cloth. I'll tell you, there can be multiple right answers to get the job done. Now, the colors in this sample are a bit gaudy and collegiate because, well, it was inspired by my alma mater, the University of Missouri, Mizzou. And that gold thing in the middle there, that's the big Mizzou M that sits in the end zone at the football field. But as you look at this in repeat with my black and gold, very obvious there, look at the interplay between positive and negative space, because sometimes that can lead to an even more interesting design than the motif you started with. To demonstrate and allow participants to practice the technique, I'll bring some 4 and 8 shaft grids with a few simple designs. Then I'll encourage everyone to design their own motifs, figure out what color order is needed in warp and weft, and develop the tie-up and treadling order to make it happen. All you'll need are the simple tools I mentioned before. They're outlined on this slide. And if you'd like to try drafting your design to see how it looks in repeat, a laptop or a tablet with weaving software is optional. I will have my laptop though, so we can test some of your ideas, even if you choose not to bring your own. As for experience, it'd be good to have a little weaving under your belt, and most importantly, the ability to read and use a weaving draft. This seminar is also a good exercise if you just want to get a better understanding of how threading, treadling, and tie-up come together to make patterns in cloth. And I'll review a little more color and weave effects theory and share some samples. I hope you decide to join me. Any other questions, Kathy?
No, this is great. What a wonderful way you've broken down, which I think for a lot of weavers is just overwhelming, is that, you know, oh, I couldn't design my own. I just need a recipe. But this looks like you're really going to make it simple for someone to understand that concept.
I hope so. That's the goal.
So I saw there's no material fee. So basically some pencil and paper and we're ready to go, right?
That's it.
This will be a great workshop for 2 things. One, if you can't bring a lot of equipment, you're flying in, this will be a great work session for you. And also maybe not the baby beginner weavers, but if you woven a little bit, you can do this, right?
Absolutely. And it's just a matter of looking at a grid and saying, is this a warp on top and what color is it? Or is this a weft on top and what color is it? And we will end up working the problem backwards to arrive at the draft.
And this is both 4 and 8 shaft, right? Could
Yes.
you do it? Could you do a, you can do these designs on anything then, right?
What do you mean by anything?
I mean, table loom or a.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
forum
yeah.
or-
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Great. Well, thank you so much, Karen. This is I love this class. This sounds great.
Well,
Thank you
great.
so much
Thanks,
for
Kathy.
sharing with us. Now, again, it's drafting original and color and weave motifs. It's a 3-hour seminar. It is Sunday afternoon on July 14th. If you want more information, you can go online and read more about that. Next up, we have Becky Flax, GIMP, the open source Photoshop alternative and overview. Now, this is not GAMP. This is GIMP, right?
That's
Okay.
correct.
It's a 3-hour seminar. Let us know more about this.
So hi, y'all. Thanks so much, Kathy. I'm Becky Flax. I am a full-time professor at Thomas Jefferson University in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And so I am very well versed in teaching all manner of software. And what I think is really exciting about GIMP is that it is an open source software, which means that there's no fee, there's no requirements for it. It's part of the free software movement. And you can access it on any platform, whether you're using Mac, PC, or Linux based. And so what this class is really going to be is it's going to be talking about what it is. If you have experience working with other photo-based editing softwares, we'll do some compare and contrast. And because my background is in teaching and making handouts and making booklets to help people after they leave a class, I am preparing a bound book with image captures and lots of annotated pictures that show you how to interact with the software in a meaningful way. So it is a 3-hour seminar on Friday afternoon. So if that is a tough time, because I know I'm a morning person, that's okay. I'll be in it with you. We can have some caffeine. We'll bring some snacks. You can bring a laptop or a tablet, so an iPad or a Surface with you, and we can look at things together. You can just follow along with me. That's completely okay. And like I said, there's no requirements in terms of knowledge or use of photo editing software. So let's just experience this and figure out how you can incorporate it into your workflow, whether that is documenting your work for your website or social media, or using it to edit designs as you prepare your weaving or your print designs, or whether we're going to use some of the vector options to be able to create weave drafts if we don't have a weave software. So there's lots of different ways as fiber people, as weavers, as knitters, as print designers, we can use this in our workflow.
Well, you've used some terminology that a lot of designers know, like vector flow and things like that. But you're saying that you can have absolutely no Photoshop experience and that kind of thing, and that people will be able to understand and pick up on this?
It's true. So I'm going to break it down in a way that's very accessible. So we'll go through the common tools, the most commonly accessed tools. But what I love about GIMP is that it doesn't have a bunch of the other sort of distracting features that Photoshop and other photo editing softwares have. And it's not quite as simplified as, like, say, Lightroom, if you're familiar with the Adobe family, or the suite. But it has a lot of tools that are very helpful.
And will you talk about how to take an image and make it into a draft, or what the next step will be?
Yeah, absolutely. It depends. So right now, I think there are 30 spots, and I'm hoping to have one of our interns working with me. But right now we have 13 registered and 17 still available for this session. So if you come with the goal in mind, we'll spend about the first half of the session getting to know the software. And then the second half, we'll talk about opportunities and what people would like to focus on.
Wonderful. So it sounds like this is a great way to kind of get your little toe wet in doing this kind of software. That's great. And I love it that it's just available to anyone. You don't have to.
Absolutely.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Becky. This is great. It's called GIMP, the open source Photoshop alternative, an overview. It's a 3-hour seminar. It is Friday afternoon on July 12th. Thanks, Becky. Next up, we have Annetta. Annetta's going to talk about the diagonal twill basics. This is a one-day workshop on Friday, July 12th. Hi, Annetta.
Hi, it's nice to be here. Thanks for the opportunity to talk about my workshop. I'm Annetta Kraayeveld. I'm coming to you from my studio in Montana. I'm a contemporary basket artist, and in addition to studio work, I teach at weaving events and fiber workshops around the country. I'm also the current president of National Basketry Organization, and at NBO we promote traditional and contemporary basketry and basket makers. I'm going to share my screen here. Give me a second. All right, that one. Look at that, I did that. So I'm looking forward to coming, and I'm really excited to tell you a little bit more about my Diagonal Twill Basics class. This class comes out of my 3 to 5 day Diagonal Twill workshop. It is the first item, the first baskets that we make in that workshop. And the reason we do that is because these two little baskets are the foundation of Diagonal Twill. So you can see here, there are a number of different ones. These all use that same basic techniques that we use or that we learn in that with that first class. Diagonal twill plaiting is a traditional basket weaving style or technique, and it's found all over the world. It starts with a base, and then these stakes that create the base are folded up and they become the weavers. And so basically, the warp becomes the weft as the basket shifts or is formed from 2-dimensional to 3-dimensional. So in this class, we'll be working with paper. It's paper that I've painted. It's a watercolor paper that I paint with acrylics, and then I cut and prepare the material for you so it's all ready. And we're going to focus on the basics there. We're going to create a base, and then I'm going to give you a second base. So you will make a base in class. I will give you a second base so that you have 2 baskets when you're done. Then we're going to turn corners, as you can see in the middle photo, and then we're going to create the basket. And we will then also rim the basket. You're going to learn about turning corners, first why we create a base a certain way, what kinds of elements have to be in a base so that you can make those stakes become weavers. And then we're going to turn the corners. We're going to start to understand sides, which is very different than a traditional plaited basket that has weavers and stakes. And as we use this, you're going to see that it's a stepping stones to other options. And these are some of the other baskets that I make in my 5-day workshop. Students work at their own pace, and you can see there's a lot of different things happen. You can create different shapes. You can start to create patterns. So that's the beginning, or that's my class. I really hope you can join us there. We're going to learn a lot of different things in a short class. It's set up, if you have any weaving experience, you probably will enjoy this class. Basket weaving experience, excuse me.
That's what I was going to ask. We're talking about basket weaving. But if you've made any kind of baskets at all, you'll have the basic understanding to do this class?
Yes, we are going to start with a basic base, and then because you're making one base and I'm giving you a second, then you have 2 baskets, which equals 8 corners to learn on. And that's probably the hardest part of the whole workshop.
Oh, okay.
But we have a lot of opportunity, and that's why I provide a second base.
Oh, that's great. Now I see there's a material fee, so it sounds like you're going to provide most of everything.
Yes, I will bring all of the materials. If you can bring some little copper clips, these little micro clips, I don't know if you can see them. They're just these little tiny things. If you can bring a pair of paper scissors, small paper scissors, and if you can bring some type of packing utensil, a small screwdriver. My favorite one is a dental tool. I will have clips, and I will have some packers available for purchase at class if you don't have something that works, but any small screwdriver, but you will need scissors. That's really the most important.
Again, this is another class, again, for people who are flying in and they cannot bring a lot of equipment. This is a great opportunity. You can just have almost everything there for you that you need. Thank you, Annetta.
Thank you.
We're so excited that NPO will be represented at Convergence. This is great. This is the
Okay.
Diagonal Twill Basics. It's a one-day workshop, and it's Friday, July 12th. Thanks, Annetta. Next up, Susan Lazear. Test Drive Digital Pattern Making. This is a one-day workshop. It is Saturday, July 13th. Hello, Susan. You're on mute. There you go.
There we go. And I'm sharing my screen.
Okay.
And let me just get into the PowerPoint here. I'm going to have to move pretty quickly because I have a lot to say. So I'm teaching a digital pattern making class. If you want to try your hand at it, my background is I've taught pattern making at the college level, and I'm a retired professor of fashion. And I own a software company for 30 years. I've been developing software, and pattern making is one of them. So the program you can try out at class just to get your sense for pattern making is called Garment Designer, and it's available for either Windows or Mac. So it's an all-in-one program. It's easy to use. We don't expect that you have a lot of pattern making knowledge at all because we have quite a bit of built-in smarts. So who should want to take this class? Anyone who wants to create their own patterns for fit reasons or for creative reasons. You can be a sewer or a knitter because the software works for both, or spinners might enjoy it as well. And certainly it works for mixed media if you combine knitting and handwovens, etc. You can use it for personal use, or maybe you have a business and you're trying to sell your work, and this would facilitate creating patterns in multiple sizes. So in the workshop, I'm going to talk about the planning of a garment, the process we use, how to understand sizing. Then we go through, everybody will build patterns, and then how to prep and print a pattern. Requirements, you just need to bring a portable computer. And in advance, I'll be sending everyone a link so that they can download and install the software. It'll have a limited time period of use so that you come to class ready to go. And so these are the steps here. And I won't get into it because you can watch this. I'm going to do a live demo on the software, but if you sew, then you would add hems and seam allowances. If you knit, you would add ribbing bands, etc., and then give it your gauge and get the shaping instructions. People often ask, how do I output? I mean, can I use a normal printer? And the answer is yes. So basically, you resize to full scale, and you can see the pagination here, and it will depend on the paper size you told the computer that you're using. And then if you're using just standard 8.5 by 11 paper, then you trim the edges and tape it all together. And as a result, you have a large pattern. You can also set large scale paper size and print to a PDF and have it printed elsewhere. The software also let you print in quarter scale and half scale. So I do a lot of prototyping when I'm not sure how to sew something up or if it's going to work. I'll print a small version and make a mock-up to test my idea. If you want to learn more, there's a video on YouTube called Creating Your First Garment. There's lots of videos on YouTube, but this one's particularly good. And also on Friday of this week, I actually am doing a webinar on Let's Work with Handwoven Fabrics, and you can get more info of that on my website. So some sample garments. These are just like the pattern in the garment. So this is handwoven fabric combined with crochet and knit. This was a project I did for a Convergence challenge way back in 2010. Robin Spady was the weaver, so I did an ensemble. I designed the jacket that you see here, the top, which included felting, and the skirt. And so here you can see the final garments. And the software can be used for other things. I'm doing another presentation on how to do engineered design into the full-scale pattern and have it printed digitally, as well as print design. So now I'm going to jump into Garment Designer. And here's just an example of a garment with pockets, but I'm just going to do a quick demo so you get the idea. So usually you start by choosing the size that you want to work with. And we have large libraries, or you can put in custom measurements. And if you want to see what measurements are used for the body, you can go in and see the body measurements in inches or in metric, and these can be edited. The green that you see here is called a sloper, and that's representing the body measurements somewhat in a flattened way. And then if you put a grid on, you can see how much ease between the pattern and the garment. I'll turn it off because it gets busy. So if I want to make a garment, I can do a top, a dress, pants, skirt, etc. Then I can choose, maybe I'll do an A-line, and maybe I'm going to make a jacket, so I'll make it be longer. I'll make it be, I'm using some shortcuts here just to save time. So I've separated my front so I can see more of a jacket. I can choose what kind of neckline I want. Maybe I don't want round, maybe I want a V, and can choose the style. And if for sleeves, I can have set-in sleeves, all styles of set-in. I can also do a attached sleeve if I want, or a cap sleeve. Basically, you build the garment initially by choosing the different style components that you want. And then after that, if you like, you can get in and edit. So you can change the styling. So if I like my armholes a bit higher, I can select those points, because if you click inside, you can see all the segments and curves and straights. If I want the neck a little bit wider, I move it this way. You know, and then when you're all done, you can add a hem. So those are all additions. So I'll add a hem of 2 inches or 2.5 inches. I can add seam allowances. And then when I'm all done and content with everything, you go full scale and you print your pattern. So I think I'll stop with that and see if we have any questions.
So how much experience would people need for this class?
Just computer comfort, or, you know, a small amount of comfort. You don't need any, I'm just trying to get back to Zoom here. You don't need any pattern making knowledge really, because, you know, if you've sewn, it helps for sure, because you know
Right.
how things go together. But, you know, we've tried to make our software pretty user friendly, and it takes care of a lot of the questions that come up in pattern making.
Well, thank you so much for showing that. This sounds like a really great class for folks. Again, this is Susan's class. It is Test Drive Digital Pattern Making. It's a one-day workshop. It is Saturday, July the 13th. Thanks, Susan.
You're welcome.
Next up, Barbara Setsu Pickett, Handwoven Book Covers. This is a one-day workshop. It is Sunday, July the 14th. Hello, Barbara.
Hello, I'm glad to be here. Do you see my screen?
I don't
Not
see your
yet?
shared screen yet.
Okay, let's see. There.
There
Okay,
we go.
we're off. Okay, in back of me are some hand-woven fabrics that I would use in book covers. And so this is trying to think about your hand-wovens as a destination to become a book cover. My one-day workshop concentrates on making artists' books using hand-woven book covers. These 3 miniature books, just 3 inches by 3 inches, are from my Recover book series, which chronicles a year in physical therapy. The covers are cut and uncut silk velvet woven on my 16-shaft AVL Computabi loom. Let's see, I need here and there. Some of the most cherished books we own are the Bible, the Quran, the Torah, and the family photo album. I choose to make both precious books and working books like journals and notebooks. Here's the text body, is a sleeve of silk organza stitched into pockets, which holds 9 charms. In the workshop, we'll discuss the merits of different bindings, how to weave your own book cloth in fine linen or silk, and how to select archival adhesives to do different tasks. This velvet cover is a labyrinth motif. It is a pamphlet binding that becomes an ornament for the White House Christmas tree. We also discuss the choice of text blocks, the insides of a book, materials like paper or fabric, and different types of closures. This text body is for that first family ornament, uses stitching on silk organza. Here is President Obama's page. I symbolize the United States as an archipelago, and seemingly different isolated islands, but joined really underneath in the same seabed. And we discuss all kinds of embellishments on and off the loom, like stitching, beading, printing, applique, inlay, brocade, and you name it. Here's the First Lady's motif, a vegetable garden, when she was promoting kids' nutrition. I shall show my variations from the standard forms, like turning this single section pamphlet into a billfold. First with paper covers of scanned woven fabrics, and then with printed wide ribbon. Or shrinking that format into miniature pocketbooks. The left cover is a woodblock print on cotton, ajrak in Gujarat, India motif. And then the middle is a katazome from the Japanese pastry zips that I did. And on the right is a commercial fabric of a night sky. There are 4 traditional styles of Japanese stab bindings, and all are sewn with one single thread. Here, the book covers are made with katagami stencil paper, and the cover, the first page, is glued to the end paper, so the stencil becomes the cover. And I plan to demonstrate how to test the grain on paper and cloth, how to match the paper grain to the cloth grain so they work together, not in conflict, how to stabilize handwovens by backing the cloth with washi paper, how to stabilize handwovens using iron interfacing and buckram, how to cook wheat paste and mix it with different proportions of PVA adhesive for a particular class. And I'm going to try to get someone to bring a hot plate so we can cook the paste. Here is a ledger I made on kasuri. It's a Japanese tie-dye, ikat pattern in hand-woven cotton. The hands-on activities include learning 3 ways to determine paper grain: beeswaxing sewing thread, hand sewing a single section pamphlet, and if time permits, backing and hand-woven swatch with washi paper. Here are in progress Asian velvet covers in blue cotton and rust silk. I hadn't really thought about having 30 people trying to do this backing the paper, but we'll see what we can do. Here is the $5 materials fee that includes the pamphlet supplies and the take-home samples of washi paper, the stabilizers, the binding threads, and the wheat paste. Items on the bring list is paper, pencil, or pen for note-taking, a flash drive for paperless instructions, small scissors, a sealable snack bags, like Ziplocs for collecting your samples, 10 sheets of copy paper that will become your pamphlet. Options items include a bone folder, large darning needles, and I shall have tools to borrow if permitted, a small kit with a bone folder and a needle. This one-day workshop is open for all skill levels. I hope to see you at Convergence. And I noted here, as I'm an avid reader, and if you are too, you must bring your book list. Let's see if I can stop this. Okay, so any questions?
Well, you've done an excellent job of covering all the points about whether or not how much skill you need and the supplies. It's amazing. So will you make one book?
Yes, that's a small pamphlet. And so the other isolated things are like waxing the thread and knowing the twist and how to select a thread. And so those are the little things that you'll take home in your kit so that you could be, when you're on your own, you could kind of be matching your supplies to what I consider ideal. And it's also linen book cloth is very expensive. And so when you can weave your own, it's really fun. Here's one I wove in silk, and it's a 40/2 silk. And oh no, that was a linen, 40/2 a linen. And this is one I wove in tussa silk. And so those are so if you can weave it and it's fine enough, it can become a book cover. So and you can add your brocade or initials or, you know, secret coded emblems or anything you want and place it where you would want in your book design, which is you don't get to do if you buy commercial linen book fabric. It just it's neutral, you know. I mean, it's consistently boring. So.
Well, what a very comprehensive presentation. Thank you so much. This sounds amazing. Something that everybody probably want to try. This is Barbara Setsu Pickett. It's a one-day workshop, hand woven book covers. It is Sunday, July the 14th. Thank you, Barbara.
You're welcome.
We have all kinds of sessions, 150 seminars and workshops, everything from a 90-minute to 3-hour to 1, 2, and 3-day workshops. Now, just a reminder that you want to get your CVP because you'll get a 25% discount with your classes. If you want to take a class, you need to have a membership. Also, just a reminder, buy your CVP before you purchase your classes, so you'll guarantee that discount. Registration's open. You need to jump in there and start choosing up your classes. After you see this, you might want to go ahead and buy. You can go to weavespindye.org/sessions if you want to learn more. You can go to the website and then start signing up for your classes. Thank you so much for watching today. We hope you'll join us in July 11th through the 17th in Wichita, Kansas. If you have more questions, please go to weavespindye.org, or you can contact us at the office. Thank you all so much and have a great afternoon. We will see you Wednesday with more leaders.